Hey guys, welcome back to the Pineapple Podcast. This week we got Thomas.
Hey.
Thomas of Thomas Remodeling?
Yeah, unofficially.
Unofficially,
Head, Home Repair and Remodeling.
Home Repair and Remodeling.
That's the unofficial name at the moment.
The unofficial name? Okay.
What's the official name going to be?
Well, we'll decide that once we get our LLC in place. But that's a little down the road yet.
Yeah. All right. I just don't want to have it messed up like last week, so let's just take a sound break.
Break?
Yeah.
It looks good to me.
Well,
I think it's working.
It worked. It looked good last week, and it was terrible. Part of the time, you can only hear like one person talking.
All right, we're gonna take a sound break.
Hey guys, it works.
It does work.
So
last week we had issues, but luckily we're good now.
So a few weeks ago, we started doing these guest questions. So that's a thing.
We got occupation. That's the first one.
Oh, my occupation?
Yeah, what's your occupation?
Home repair and remodeling.
There you go.
What is like your favorite part of kind of the home repair? What's your favorite thing to do?
Repair. I just like fixing stuff for people that have like issues that they go, we can't figure this out, and you go in and go, that's pretty simple. Here you go. And they're like, that's amazing. So I mean, that's kind of fun. I like repairing furniture.
I thought you were gonna say not Formica. I just lost it. Fascia and soffits.
Oh man. So Jeremy helped me do fascia and soffits one time.
A year and a half ago by now.
Yeah, I have a great picture of him covered head to toe in dirt.
Oh, dude, I need that picture.
I'll have to find it.
I need a meme it.
It was awesome.
But yeah, I was actually thinking about that a couple weeks ago because like say, we're working on our Habitat house, and I actually painted the fascia and soffit. You did that part by yourself.
Yeah, but that part's easy. I have a sprayer for that, so I just walked. That took like 20 minutes.
It was like 25 degrees in the morning, windy, and I'm like on there like on a ladder painting stuff. So I can now officially say I replaced it and painted it.
Yes.
Because I hadn't done that before. So what is your favorite food?
Probably steak, deer steak.
Dude.
Deer steak?
If it's cooked right, yeah.
You made that steak in Reed. It was
Heck yeah,
last
man.
year. That was real good.
That was all deer.
Everyone else was bringing up like sandwiches and like
you
random granola bars, and
gotta
like,
go
no, guys,
steak,
I
man.
got a steak.
Steak.
It was pretty legit.
And mashed potatoes is good too.
That sounds pretty good.
It is delicious.
It was good.
But again, I mean, if you're doing deer steak, you've got to cook it the right way.
I've never had deer steak.
Well, you need to come eat deer steak sometime, dude.
Deer steak is good.
It's got to be cooked right though, because like people will tell you they hate deer steak, and it's usually
because they say it's like grainy, right?
Well, no. Well, they say it tastes gamey sometimes, and that's just not being used to eating deer. But
What is gamey?
gamey, I mean, it doesn't taste like a beef cow.
It tastes like what?
It tastes wild. I mean, you can taste the fact that it's not been fed processed antibiotic-laden food. It's
Shouldn't that
natural
taste better?
range corn. It does taste better,
Yeah.
I think, but it's a different taste. And so like,
So you get used to it, yeah.
yeah, until you get used to it. Because like, so we hunt all of our deer every winter, deer season, and that's like 95% of the meat we eat throughout the year.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, that's one of the reasons we hunt is because that actually feeds our family. Even though, yeah, we could run to the supermarket and buy it, it works out cheaper for us. But most people that tell you they hate like venison, it's because they had somebody cook it and they didn't know what they were doing.
Okay, deer lasagna is good. We put it in
Heck yeah,
lasagna
dude.
instead of like ground beef before. But
So
Lasagna?
yeah,
it doesn't
like it was like the deer sausage.
well, and like it doesn't have like the fat in it that beef has, so it cooks way faster.
Okay.
And so most people that cook it, like the most you should ever cook a deer, if you're talking deer steak, would be like medium at best. Really should be like medium rare, because you cook any more than that, it just turns into like a shingle.
Yeah.
And it's like eating shoe leather, and it's horrible. And that's what most people have. They're like, I had deer and it was awful, and I'm like,
Right. The same thing
well,
with
how'd
lamb.
you get it? Yeah. Oh,
Same
yeah.
thing with lamb.
Same thing with
People
lamb.
cook lamb wrong all the time.
Yep.
The first time I had lamb, it was in a pressure cooker, and it was so dry.
Oh yeah.
It was this
It'll
old
definitely
lady at
dry out.
church.
And that's, I mean, most wild game is like that. You gotta know how to cook it, but give it cooked right, man. It's fantastic.
I can't cook, so I don't know.
I love cooking. It's awesome.
This is coming from the guy that made mac and cheese with milk.
Is that a bad thing?
No, you're supposed to
No,
make it
but
with
you
milk.
boiled
Yeah.
it. Remember? You boiled it. You boiled it like out of order.
What?
Your mom was like.
My
telling you
sister-in-law
what.
burned mac and cheese.
Nah.
It wasn't even mac and
is
cheese. It was
good.
just like macaroni one time. She just burned it. Just killed it.
Just some noodles.
Yeah, she doesn't cook.
That's pretty funny. All right, last question.
I think we kind of touched on part
Hobby?
of this. Maybe.
Hobby?
Do you have a hobby?
Or
I have probably
hobbies.
too many hobbies.
That's true.
I have too many hobbies.
Hunting, soccer,
Football.
football, woodworking. That's why I like doing like furniture and stuff, because you get in, you mess with the wood and repair stuff, and
Yeah.
you know that's a blast, stuff like that. So
Do you prefer woodworking over metalworking?
yeah, probably.
Probably safer.
It's well,
I
I don't weld much,
Okay.
and mainly because I have not ever been taught the right ways to weld. And I think what I would love to do more of, if I really had the time and space to do it, is like a marrying of the two, where you have wood with metal and using like resins
Have
and
you
stuff
ever
like
done
that.
anything with leather?
You know, I've never done anything with leather. I've made leather,
You've made leather. I tried some
tanned
leather.
hides, but
Yeah. I tried some leather burning, like, it was 5 years ago or so. The smell was awful.
oh yeah, you're burning stuff.
Yeah.
You're burning skin.
Burning
That
leather.
sounds horrible.
It does sound horrible when you put it that way. So,
I mean, that's what you're doing. You're burning skin.
Yeah.
It stinks.
dude.
I don't know what you expected from that.
No, but, like, I understand why, but
Wood burning is kind of cool, though. I like wood burning. I'd like to get a big laser wood burner, a glow forge, because those things are legit.
Did you have something like that?
No.
I thought you did.
I don't have one of those.
For some reason I thought
I'd
you
like to have one of those, but I don't have an extra like $6,000 to outlay for a hobby at the moment.
The next tool that I want to get's a mill.
That would be very cool.
That, yeah.
Quick thoughts,
Nice
man.
mill.
Quick thoughts and get it on Amazon.
did, basically. Oh, but the downside about that is I got one of my friends does a couple of survey things, but he has an iPhone, and so he can't use Amazon. It does iTunes.
It goes to iTunes, so I got it to do it on my iPad too.
Yeah, he's
and I was like,
like-
I'll do it on my iPad.
Yeah.
And if you're an iOS based deal, it gives you iTunes.
He's
gift
like,
cards.
I don't buy iTunes or
And I'm
anything.
like-
I get my stuff for free now.
I don't want iTunes gift
So he
cards. I want
made-
Amazon cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He made $4 or $5 and then was like, doesn't make sense for me. I'm not gonna use
No,
iTunes.
it defaults. I found that out because, like I said, I tried to double dip, and I was going to have one account on my iPad and one account on my phone,
I
and
got my second account on there.
and then I was like, oh, cool, this will work. And then it goes, you can get iTunes gift cards. I'm like,
Nobody wants iTunes.
I don't need iTunes gift cards. I mean, yeah, I buy music occasionally, but not that much.
I don't know.
I don't even. The iTunes just has no purpose anymore. Like, there's so many other things to use.
That are free,
It'll
Yeah.
go away eventually.
except for Apple Music. But nobody uses Apple Music.
Yeah, nobody uses Apple Music. It's trash.
Spotify and Google Music,
I think those are like the
YouTube
two
Music.
biggest.
Pandora's still kicking.
That's still a thing.
I have.
Pandora
I
Music.
still
Stream
use
any music.
Pandora.
You don't stream music?
I don't stream music
You have it all downloaded on your phone?
on my iPad usually. So if I'm like in a job site, I'll have this running in the background,
There you
sitting in
go.
there. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, time to move on to our previously left world/personal breaking news because they go in the same category.
You know, that's right.
Jordan was
Personal
giving
news?
back in December when Jordan was here.
Yeah.
She was on the podcast. She was giving us a hard time that we had world and personal breaking news as the same headline.
Why does she? What's the problem with that?
Yeah, it's like my personal news is just as important.
It's as important
any
as the
other
breaking
world
news in the
breaking
world,
news.
by golly.
She didn't find it that way.
I
So,
can see that.
what's it called?
Ecosia?
Ecosia.
Why is this under breaking news?
Because I didn't know where else to put. Oh, tech.
Technology?
So
Well-
you need world/tech/personal breaking
No,
news?
we have like a tech section.
Oh, yeah. See, you should have put it down there.
I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, let's talk about some trees. So Ecosia is a apparently legit web browser that you can use interchangeably. Like you can simply just replace Google or whatever you're using.
I don't know why you'd ever want to do that.
But it's for the tree huggers because all their profits go to planting trees. And whenever you sign up and make an account, you get to plant your first tree for free.
Can I plant it in my front yard?
No,
So where exactly are they planting them? Yeah.
in the moon.
The moon?
I don't think they're going to grow well there.
Dude, The house I listed this morning, the guy's like, "Oh yeah, we have an apricot tree." And I'm just like, it's so funny. I'm like, I'm totally gonna market it in the backyard. There's an apricot tree.
I have a nectarine tree in my backyard.
I have like 10 different types of fruit trees in my backyard now.
Pecan trees.
There's
Mine
like
just grows
5
like
acres of pecan trees.
little bitty, teeny tiny nectarines, and I guess it's just that there's not enough of them around or something.
So
I don't get very good nectarine. I mean, they taste great, but
Yeah.
there's like a half a bite on them,
Yeah.
and then the rest of it's all seed.
So the real question is, are you gonna switch from Google or Edge or whatever you use to go with Ecosia?
Probably not.
No.
Mainly
million
because
years.
In a million years? So you'll drive an electric car before you switch to Ecosia?
yes,
Okay.
and that will never happen. So.
Especially for Thomas.
So I saw
Yeah,
this on
exactly.
Facebook today. Payless is going out of business, apparently.
You only just now saw that?
Payless
This
shoes?
is old news, man.
I didn't know.
I don't
Last
keep
week
up
we
with that.
talked about HEB going to the mall
Yes.
and JCPenney moving to the Sears
Yeah,
building.
that's really weird right there.
It's because do you know why?
Because JCPenney's on the verge of going bankrupt too.
No, it's because the JCPenney's AC and heating units are all messed up, and it's in their lease that they have to
Nice.
fix them, and so it's a lot cheaper for them to move to Sears and not have to fix them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
So-
right now they have like semi trucks pumping in the AC and heat
That's
in their
crazy.
parking lot. So it's a
So I almost
it's
went-
a financial.
Almost went to work for JCPenney a couple years ago before I started doing this.
Well,
And now I'm glad I didn't.
yeah, I was saying I
Because-
didn't because you wouldn't have AC.
Well, not only that, but they are
No AC.
they are in like
5 years tops.
they're in like a bad financial place as a company too.
Yeah.
And then
I
Brahms
have
is
not
coming
heard
in
good
next to
things.
Freddy's.
Brahms is coming in.
We talked about that last week. So, but yeah, I thought it was funny just to see Payless is already like discounted shoes. So now everything is 50% off.
Do you
so
really buy many shoes at Payless anyway though?
I haven't bought a pair of shoes at Payless since I was like 6.
So
think I've ever been to Payless.
I finally decided after years of buying cheap crappy shoes, now that I'm older, that
Now that your feet aren't growing.
now that my feet are not growing anymore, shoes are important, and it is one thing that I'm like, spend the money and get a good quality shoe.
Yeah.
Not a Nike, because Nike suck, but
Yes,
Um,
Nike's the worst. I've had Nike since I was 11.
like I love my Adidas
Same.
and love my Asics.
I had a pair of Asics and I liked them.
I've every
I
pair
have
of
a
Asics I've
on
owned.
my feet.
These are
Hey.
Asics right here, man. Every
Rep-
pair of
reppin'
Asics
Adidas.
I've owned, I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
And even when I was in retail and was on my feet all day, that's when I started buying them. I
Yeah.
was like, these actually make a difference.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
the crappy shoes to the decent shoes.
Yeah. Don't go waste your money at Nike.
Don't go
Moral
waste your money
story.
on Nike.
Or
And
apparently Payless.
don't go buy crappy
So
Payless
pull
shoes.
your stocks out of Payless before it's too late.
I think it's too late already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Pretty
too
sure
late.
if you haven't sold Payless yet, it's too late.
So I know we took out the sports section because Jack knows nothing about sports, but
What?
I figured since we got Thomas on, this came up today. So Barcelona won 1-0.
Really?
And so they take the lead in all-time series over Real Madrid since 1932. It's the first time they have more wins when they play each other. So I thought that was pretty
That is
interesting.
kind of cool.
Wait, they have more wins total
For
now?
the first, like, between the two playing each other.
Yeah.
So out of the meetups, Barcelona, for the first time since 1932, has more wins than Real Madrid.
Nice.
Legit.
That's actual news.
That's what I thought.
The other actual news is Jason Witten coming back to the Cowboys. That's pretty legit.
I like my theory.
Cowboys are going to have a decent tight end again finally.
We had success with our young tight ends last season.
Not really.
I beg to differ.
Who was the guy that got kicked off too?
No one got.
No,
oh,
somebody-
David Irving.
Yeah, David Irving.
He's
He's done.
He took them drugs three too
Took
many
them
times.
drugs
Three too many
Three too many
times.
times. That's exactly right.
So,
I
yeah.
am so confused, but sure.
He's like, yeah.
And then
Something.
you have-
I agree with
then
you.
you got Bryce
Cowboys that
Harper's
do things.
13-year contract for $300 million.
Yep, that's a little weird.
I don't know why you would want to sign anybody to a 13-year contract.
I don't either, man. But
Unless they're like 17.
I
But even then, they're too young.
Even then, man, that's too young. And 13 to 17, that still puts them at 30 when they
I
would
don't
be
even
coming out of their
like.
contract.
I don't even like giving 5-year contracts because you don't know what a person's going to be like in 5 years.
This is true. Well, and especially like some of the guys like
It's a baseball player. Got a 13-year contract for $300 million.
You say 300 million?
Actually, and he could have gotten more than that, but he's also not going to be playing at an elite level at the end of his career. So, like,
Why can't I get a contract like that? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
I mean,
you're,
not just
you're a
because I suck, but
contractor.
I'm a contractor.
Why can't you do it, Thomas?
I would do, if I got a $300 million, what does that come out to a year? $300 million for 13 years? Let's see.
I don't know. Do the math.
I can
while you're doing the math
do
on
minimal
your,
math,
your
but not in my
calculator.
head.
One of my friends on Wednesday, he's like, "Hey, so," because I was telling him I got a listing in
Would they be
Plainview.
like 7 or
So-
8 million?
$23 million a year.
23? I don't know
Which-
what I'm doing in my head.
I would retire after 1 year.
Basically.
I'm like, yeah, I could live on $23 million, sure.
Which $23 million a year actually isn't a lot. The thing that's crazy that it's 13 years.
That is, I agree.
There are a lot of people getting way more than 23 million a year, but it's
I don't know
because
if there's really that many getting more than 23
In
million.
baseball?
Well, in baseball, but baseball players are stupidly overpaid.
well,
Dude,
'cause it's a stupid
baseball,
sport.
The thing
I learned like
I
2 weeks
agree.
ago that baseball is like the best paying sport.
Okay, but it's because there's no cap in baseball.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
There's no cap in baseball.
Then
Basketball,
what?
football, there's a
No
salary
salary
cap.
cap.
You can
Oh,
only
there
spend
is?
so much amount of money
Yeah,
on your whole team.
on like basketball or
Oh.
baseball or I keep saying football in particular.
Yeah.
You have the NFL salary cap, so each team can only spend up to this much
for
money
your
on all their
whole
players.
team.
Hmm.
But baseball, you
Baseball
can go
doesn't have that.
nuts.
Baseball,
Really?
you can pay them whatever the heck you want to pay them.
Yeah,
Why is that a thing?
because it's baseball and
it's
Nobody cares?
America's
Stupid.
pastime.
no, it's not.
According to Americans,
It
is.
used to be America's pastime.
I don't
So-
think if
It's
anyone,
not as liberal as football or basketball.
Well,
And I love football and basketball way
yeah,
more.
but it's baseball. It's boring to watch.
It really is.
I say this mainly because, like, if I have my friends that we have discussions with all the time online about how crappy baseball is, but they're like huge baseball fans, so they
Yeah.
give me crap about how crappy soccer is, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So we just give each other a hard time. People love it. There's a lot of guys that think it's amazing.
yeah,
It's not my sport.
it's fun to go to a game in real life
It's way better to watch one in real life.
because you
Is
got
it
your.
though?
You
I
got
cannot-
your
no,
hot,
it really
you
is.
got
It
your
makes a
hot
difference.
dog. You got your hot dog. You got your Dr Pepper.
It makes a difference being there in person.
Didn't we go to one?
In Dallas at
Yeah.
night. Yeah,
We did.
and that was a good game.
I don't even remember.
I went the year before to a Ranger game, and it was like 105 degrees outside. We had to douse the seats in water, middle of the day, bright in the sun. There were like 3 hits the whole game.
The last one I was at was in college, and we had gone to Six Flags. We were on a
Oh,
on
nice.
a retreat, and we got to Six Flags, and our BSU director called me and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna be at the front gate in like 10 minutes, and get everybody. We're gonna go over to the ballpark."
Why not?
I was like, "Okay, cool." We went in. It was after the 6th inning, so like we walked up to the gate, and we just walked in. No tickets, no nothing. Just walked in, and the guy's like, I told the director, I'm like, I feel kind of bad. We like snuck in. He goes, we didn't sneak in. We were totally willing to pay. There was no one to take our money. I mean, there was like nobody standing there. So we went in. We got to sit. I guess it was not like a sellout game by any
Yeah.
means because we wound up sitting like right behind the dugout.
Hey, there you go.
And but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, so I go to this game. It's like dead hot. There's 3 hits the whole game. And then I go the next year with his family, and it's like at night. It's cool. It's like 9-8 is the final score. Lots of hitting. It was a much better game.
This
But-
one was a decent game. I don't remember what the score was. I remember the Rangers won, but that was about all I remember about it.
There you go. So Barcelona baseball contracts, and Jason Witten is
Jason
back.
Witten is
He
back.
got caught up on his Netflix shows. After taking a year off, he's like, I'm good to go.
He's caught up on all his binge watching,
There you go.
and he
What
says,
time are we at?
"My desire to
18
compete
minutes.
is just too much."
Seems legit. That's what he said.
All right,
So-
let's get through this Bible section.
Elon Musk? Is that what it says?
No, it says Elohim.
Same
It
thing.
says Elohim.
Same thing.
Elohim.
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 Elohim is...
So Jeremy, what is Elohim?
It is a spiritual being, question mark.
So I wanted a little bit more than that, but sure. Spiritual being.
It's
What
the
is
Hebrew name
what
for
is
God?
it? Yeah. Not
Uppercase God or lowercase God?
Well, that would be the debate because Elohim doesn't have a specific definition in Hebrew. El means God.
El means God, so Elohim just kind of means like a spiritual being.
Theoretically, in Hebrew, yeah. But, like, it's used specifically usually to talk about God. But then when you, like, study Hebrew, you have God the Father was referred to as El. God the Son was referred to as El. The Holy Spirit was referred to as El in Hebrew. And so Elohim doesn't have a specific definition, which is one of the problems in translating languages.
Well, it's also used to refer to angels. And
Occasionally, yeah.
there's other things called the sons of God.
Mm-hmm.
Those are called Elohim. And
Nephilim.
And
We discussed about all that. Well, we didn't. We had a discussion about the Nephilim the other day.
Same.
Who did?
We were talking. I don't remember who I was talking about. I was talking about it with Jesse, but I don't remember who all else. We were talking about the sons of God and what are the sons of God? But that's off the definition of Elohim.
Zeus, right?
No, wrong God. Those are the little gods.
I'm just kidding.
God's little G.
So little G,
Little G.
the OG little G.
No, they're not even the OG, man. Because before Zeus, you had Kronos and
Oh yeah, you're right, dude. I forgot about all that.
Gaia and all that stuff, man.
Right.
I used
don't
to be
know
way more up on my
anything
Greek
about
mythology than I am
Same.
now.
Percy Jackson ruined it all.
Percy Jackson. God, I hate that guy.
I hate the movies more than
The
anything.
movies were flat out trash.
They were pretty bad.
So,
Okay, so back on topic.
Back on topic. Elohim.
So whenever we see this word used in the Bible, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, what do you think it's talking about?
spiritual beings.
God.
Thomas thinks God. Jeremy just says spiritual beings. I'm thinking more along the lines of spiritual beings as well, just because it is used to describe multiple things. Like Samuel's spirit that gets raised up, it's called an Elohim. Angels in multiple places are called Elohim.
Well, and typically when you're studying, like, when they're talking about specifically God, they use it with the, big G God. It's used in conjunction with the tetragrammaton, Yahweh.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yahweh, Yahweh.
Yahweh, that nobody knows how to spell. So those crazy Hebrews don't use vowels.
No.
Basically.
Maybe we're the crazy Englishmen that use too many vowels.
This is very true. Extra E's in there. Elohim.
True.
So since we're on just like this, what do you think whenever they were, I'm speaking like we haven't caught everyone else up on our discussion from Friday.
No, I'm not caught up in your discussion, so.
Thomas isn't caught up on our discussion from Friday. So on Friday at Bible study, we were talking about like Elohim, and we were talking about specifically
Bible
in
study,
Job.
I mean us two and like 3 other people. We're just
Would
talking
you can
about.
still study the Bible?
Yeah.
We're literally just talking about angels for fun.
Sweet.
Kind of, yeah. So we were talking about a passage in Job. It's Job 1 and Job 2, and
I love Job 1.
basically. So to talk about something called like the divine council is what I've heard it referred to, and it says the holy ones, and these are called Elohim in Hebrew. And Satan's there, and nobody knows if it's like
Which Satan?
like Satan's a title. It's not a name. Lucifer's a name.
Right.
So what we were trying to figure out is why is this person?
Why is he there?
Why is this person that has the title of Satan there among this group
Because
of sons of
What's
God?
funny is like I
just-
was reading it Friday, and actually I wasn't reading it. I'm lying. I was listening to it Friday. Can't even read it.
You're listening to the Bible on
I was listening.
audiobook.
Yeah, I was listening to it Friday, and
Is read by
yeah,
Sean Connery.
I heard it. Michael Bubble. Straight up back to Elon Musk. But it says, but he's literally like, but Satan says something, or how does it start? And God's just like, wait, where did you come from? And he's like, oh, just wandering the earth, doing
Been
my
wandering
thing.
around doing my thing,
But
yo.
I just thought it was weird that, like, why would, I don't know, just the wording was weird. God's just like, oh, hey, Satan, where'd you come from? Like, he's just kind of chilling in the council meeting.
Well, yeah. Why not?
Just because he's just there.
So,
Like, what's up with that?
shows like the overarching providence of God. Because before Satan could do anything, God had to go, yeah, go for it. But then you get into the whole other debates out of that where they go, well, does God cause evil?
God doesn't cause evil.
Absolutely. In fact, the Bible says that specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, the reason why we were studying Job was not to talk about Elohim. What we were talking about was how it relates to Ecclesiastes, the book that we had studied previously.
Like a year ago.
Yeah, but not just previously. We had done other stuff in between. But last year we had talked about Ecclesiastes.
Like last spring, we talked about Ecclesiastes.
And I was like, hey, we should go to do Job now because it kind of relates to what the
I
author
love
of
Job.
Ecclesiastes
Job's
says.
a cool book.
I need to finish reading it.
Yeah,
Or listening to it.
It's really interesting. So the entire point of Ecclesiastes is that like
Everything is
people don't-
meaningless.
Yeah, everything's meaningless,
Everything is
and people
vanity.
don't get what they deserve. People always don't get what they deserve.
True.
So, and that's like the entire point of the Book of Job. It's like the example of that.
The example of what Solomon, an author, was writing about.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then
I
you
can see
go
that.
to like the Book of Proverbs, and it's like, oh, people always get what they deserve.
I haven't reread Proverbs, so we lost me there.
Well, more or less, it's talking about how
Proverbs are proverbs, and he's right.
Yeah.
It's typically people get what they deserve,
Yeah, you
but
know, like
proverbs
you
are not
work
a hard
you
and
do-
fast rule, you know. Because I've had people ask me that before too. They go, "Well, why does it say this?" Because
says
it's
it.
proverbs, and it says it. It's general wisdom and knowledge overarching, but it's not a hard and fast
It's not a
always
rule,
rule.
yeah.
Well, who
It's
wrote-
not promises of God.
Yeah, I was going to say, who wrote Proverbs?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It wasn't God
That's
Well-
the point.
directly. So
I had to credit a book one time when I was writing papers in college in my history class, and so I credited God as the author of the Bible
yeah,
in my footnotes. In the Bible, by God.
in the Bible, by God.
That's what I.
By
That's
God.
what I said in my paper. In the Bible, by God.
That's hilarious.
And I just brought that to mind. It was great.
That's pretty
funny.
funny.
Hey, I got an A on that paper.
Hey, there you go.
The whole paper was that. The whole premise of the paper was that the founding fathers were ordained by God to set revolution to bring America into being.
Hmm.
It was
That's
a great
interesting.
paper.
Back in December, Nellie got a math answer correct because she just wrote Jesus.
Just because you wrote Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus is the answer.
Or maybe it was chemistry. I forgot.
I think it was
I think it
chemistry.
was chemistry. Yeah, she had zero idea what it was, and she got it saved because she's put
That's
Jesus.
So
So
I'm sure we could talk about Elohim for a really long time, but whenever we see it, now we know. I'm pretty sure it's just talking about spiritual beings, and it comes up a lot in the Old Testament, and occasionally more in the New
So-
Testament.
God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit.
Lowercase
Well,
g
God
gods.
the Father, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and then angel types.
Angel types.
Angel
I
types.
think that's what you would refer to as Elohim. And would you refer to demons as Elohim?
If you're talking spiritual beings, you could.
Potentially
Because demons are just angels.
demigods.
Fallen angels.
Yeah. So yes, probably.
Probably at some
Rebelled.
point. But again, I mean, it goes back to, like I said, we had this discussion. Well, we didn't have this discussion.
Not us.
I had this discussion with somebody the other day. We were talking about how there's differences in all these translations of the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and that part of the problem we run into in translating the Bible, inaccuracy, is that you're translating a language that is very broad, whereas English is very, very narrow.
Yeah.
So if you look at, like, in Greek, there's like 5 to 7 different ways to say love in Greek. And depending on the word you use, it means something different.
Right.
Whereas we just go, love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
And
you just
so
kind of have to figure it out.
it's like, well, what are they talking about? And so, you know, when you get into Bible translating, you have translations that are designed to be verbatim translations, word for word, as accurate to the original text as they can, which is hard. And you have thought for thought ideas that are, this is the idea that the author's conveying. And we started, in fact, Jesse and I were talking about it, but we started talking about it because, you know, you get people that are like, they say, well, the King James Bible is the only one you should ever use. And they're like, I'm like, I don't think so.
Vintage NIV is where it's at.
Vintage NIV, man.
Vintage NIV.
Well, and so like, because she asked me, she's like, well, they say that these other Bibles are missing verses, and she's like, why do they say that? I'm like, well, they are. What do you mean they are? I'm like, well, they're not in like the NIV, and they are in the King James. I said, but the problem is you folks don't understand how Bible translating is done.
Yeah.
And I said, number one, like the NIV, these missing verses are always referenced in the footnotes.
Yeah, they are.
And I said, the thing about it is, you look at 1611 when the King James was translated, they used everything they had at the time. I said, somewhere in the last 400 years, we found a whole slew of new manuscripts and fragments and stuff. And I said, so they were using the best stuff they had at the time when they translated the King James. We've got new manuscripts and stuff now. And I said, most likely, those verses probably never existed in the first place, in the original text.
Yeah.
And I said, now, that gets into a whole slew of, you can
Accuracy
talk
issues.
about, definitions of accuracy and all this stuff. But when you study how, like, Bible translation's done, there's different families of texts that are used in translating. And so these newer translations with these missing verses are using actual older texts than what the King James used that have been discovered. And those verses weren't in those texts. But when you get into, like, missing text or changes in families of text and things like that, even then there's nothing that would change any doctrine of Christianity.
Yeah, no.
And so
The only thing I know about translating the Bible is every time you write Elohim, you have to use new ink and new pen.
no, when you wrote Yahweh,
Yeah, it was Yahweh. It wasn't
not Elohim. Ah, you're fired. Out of here.
It was a specific, different quill.
Elohim just means spiritual beings, man. Yahweh is the holy name of God.
It's the Elohim.
Every
of
time you
Elohim.
mess up, then they would throw it in the fire.
Yes.
I did get a fact right.
And so I made a rabbi gasp once because I was visiting dude, I was visiting at the local synagogue here.
Oh, yeah.
And so, vast background, which you guys may not even know, you might, but so I'm a religion major.
Yeah, I knew that.
And
that.
yeah, so that's my major in college was religion and Christian ministry. And so part of that is we had to take classes, of course, studying all kinds of world religions and all kinds of things like that. But so we were visiting the synagogue, and the rabbi is showing us the scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Torah scrolls and stuff. And so we were asking her. And so if a rabbi, because the reverence around the name of God, they won't even say Yahweh.
Mm.
They'll typically say Adonai, or they say Lord.
I thought Yahweh was saying He is, and Adonai was saying I am.
Adonai just means Lord, and but Yahweh is the memorial name of God. It's the name that God gave Himself. So when when you read in the Bible, they were saying, well, who do I say sent me? And Moses said, who do I say sent me? And God says, tell them that I am sent you.
Yeah.
That's where He said, Yahweh. Tell them that I am sent you. And so it's the name that God gave Himself. And so it's this sacred, holy, memorial name of God. And like you said, when they were writing it, there was all kinds of rules about even just writing the word. And so we're going through, and she's pointing it out for us because someone asked her about it. And I was under my breath, I'm like, Yahweh. And she's like, and I'm like, sorry. didn't mean for you to hear that. So yeah.
Ripped to pieces.
That's pretty funny.
Well, and like somebody asked her about that too. They're like, what do you say when people say it? She goes, I usually just go, they don't know.
Yeah.
And go on.
Yeah. Well, it was a good Monday.
Good Monday, good episode. Are we about done with
Absolutely.
this episode?
Sure.
That was pretty good.
Been
We
a
got
good
we
Monday.
got pretty deep into some. I don't know what you call this specific topic.
Bible.
Just Bible.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Straight
under
up.
the
It's
heading
under
Bible.
Bible.
It's under Bible, but what would you consider what we specifically talked about?
Um,
Elohim plus
Elon
Plus
Musk.
extra.
plus extra.
Elon Musk is extra.
All right. It was a good Monday. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.